Welcome to Let's Grow Texas Ag, showcasing unique farm and ranch stories of the South Texas coastal plains. First-hand knowledge with special guests presented by our very own and well-known host, Joe Adams. Pull up a chair and enjoy as we share some of the heritage and insightful stories that have made us proud Texans. Let's Grow Texas Ag.
Welcome back, folks. Matagorda County, 1,600 square miles along the Texas Gulf Coast, home to about 36,000 residents. Mostly known for its beaches, fishing, wildlife, Matagorda has a very rich history in agriculture, and those roots run real deep. By 1850, 59,000 acres were in farmland. Corn, sugar, cotton, and rice were the typical crops at the time, including 32,000 head of beef cattle and over 2,100 sheep. Last year, we had the privilege to film a very unique form of ranching in Matagorda. The Huebner family has been ranching for generations. They drive cattle across the Texas-Colorado River to their winter pastures on the Matagorda Peninsula. Tradition? You bet. History? You bet. Sit real still and watch the Matagorda cattle swim.
The Huebner family's been doing this since, I believe, 1919 was when they first started. And there's been some gaps here and there since then, but we've been doing it over 100 years. It's just kind of part of our family operation. We keep heifers, they kind of grow up doing it, and like I say, our cows know where they're going when we're doing it, and they know when it's time to come home. We worked all day yesterday getting everything kind of shaped up into the bunch that we wanted to swim today. So a full day yesterday. Hauling today is a good half day, and depending on the tide and weather conditions, sometimes you have to wait on the river. Today the conditions weren't very good. It's really windy, blowing 25, 30 miles an hour, which is it's just another element you got to deal with to do this. I've been kind of stressing about it for 2 days because I knew what it was supposed to be doing today, but when we got down here, it looked doable. Like I say, the conditions weren't perfect. The cows kind of labored a little bit swimming, you could tell. Of course, a few of them always do, but today I noticed they were kind of fighting that wind a little more than normal. We had one heifer, young cow, probably didn't know the routine as good as some of them. She struggled a little bit and got turned around. The guys caught her on this side. But we'll get her home and dropped off. I put a few of our buddies in a pasture behind my house the other day, and I'll probably let her spend the winter there. So really no harm done. I mean, it's just one of those things. They're never the same. Every swim's a little different. I mean, it's so pretty, and you appreciate the good ones when it goes like clockwork, but there's times where they don't, and you have to catch a few, hopefully not too many, but sometimes more than others, sometimes none. It's been a while since we've had a clean swim in the spring where we haven't had to catch anything. But like I say, that's why I have all these good men down here, these good cowboys. Like I say, they do it on a daily basis, and you better come with some good help when you come try to get this done, especially in the springtime.
We'll have more about the Matagorda Cattle Swim right after we take a small break to pat some of our sponsors on the back, because we sure do appreciate the help. Welcome back to Let's Grow Texas Ag. I bet a lot of you folks didn't know that cattle could swim like that. Well, it's kind of like that old why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? That's like Mr. Keith said. Them cows will let you know when they're ready to go. So they just go right up in there, they jump in there, swim to winter pastures. Then in the springtime, they'll let you know when they get back. It's prime grazing country, and the Huebner family's been doing it a long time, so it's rich in tradition. So I'd say let's just keep on doing it.
There's a lot of good country down here for winter pasture, salt grass, and it's kind of a challenge to get them down here with the river and getting them swam and everything, but they're usually ready to go this time of year. And in the springtime, they'll start telling you they're ready to come home too, because they'll start swimming off, and you get into middle of March, late March, so they kind of have their own biological clock. Since, like I say, since we've been doing it so long, the cows kind of know the routine. It's changed drastically. I mean, like I say, they've been doing this. Well, my family, the Huebner family's done this long before I was around, and I mean, it's changed. I'm sure it used to be much harder as far as the day-to-day, the limited resources. Heck, they didn't have cell phones. What would we do today without just little stuff like that? But down here, it's changed a lot. Matagorda's grown a lot. There's a lot more projects going on. I mean, this, for instance, LCRA building right here, they haven't been here. I mean, I remember when none of this was here, and we had a little bit more room to do it. Now it's just, like I say, it's changed a lot, mainly the growth, and but as long as we can keep doing it, I mean, it's just, like I say, it's been part of our normal routine. It's our winter pasture, and this is what it takes to utilize the country over there. And so I guess as long as we can keep adapting, we'll do our best.
Oh boy, watching that makes you feel like you're taking a step back in time. There's so much history in the state of Texas that has been lost, and it is so important to remember where it all started. Everything's got a story. It's so important to stay connected to the story that got us where we're at today. Stay tuned to Let's Grow Texas Ag. We got the opportunity to talk to Miss Georgia Lee Swickheimer in Fannin, Texas, that is ranching on land that has been in her family for generations in Goliad County.
Did you know? With a population of 7,000, Goliad County generates over $29 million in ag-related products.
Welcome back to Let's Grow Texas Ag, and this afternoon we're going to be talking out here with Miss Georgia Lee Swickheimer. Hello, Miss Swickheimer. How are you today?
Oh, pretty good. And yourself?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much, ma'am, for taking my call earlier and agreeing to kind of visit with us a little bit. We certainly do appreciate that. Miss Swickheimer, and kind of reading about you, you've got a very interesting biography, and I've had the pleasure of meeting you quite a few years ago, but you were pretty much born on the ranch.
But I was born in Fannin. We lived in the Fannin house, and that was back in 1932, and I was born at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
4 o'clock in the afternoon.
And but in those days you didn't always get to the hospital. There wasn't much hospitals.
Well, it's pretty good, because I think you graduated college out of SMU?
Yes.
Southern Methodist University, and then you did something that I find very interesting. You went into the Marine Corps.
Yes, I went to the Marine Corps right out of college.
So, and then you retired from the Marine Corps in 1980?
Yes, 1980.
Just out of curiosity, is that something that you always wanted to do, or What was your thought process in doing that?
Well, I sort of leaned towards that, and then I had one of my sorority advisors, counselors. He knew some of her sorority sisters joined the Navy, and each year the different services send their recruiters to the campuses, to try to see who they can tag, so to speak.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I decided that the Marine Corps looked pretty good, so that's where I made application and got accepted.
And how many years did you serve in the Marine Corps?
A little over 20 years.
A little over 20 years, wow. And retired and come back to work on the ranch.
Yes, I always spent time here during vacation and trying to keep up with things.
Well, I guess when you went to school and your schooling and all that, your mom and dad were still running the ranch?
Oh yes, Dad ran the ranch until 1981 when he passed away. And our mother passed away in 83.
That's the same year my dad passed away, 81.
These are my keeper heifers. They belong to the ranch. They're not mine. They're mine and my brother's. And that's our two bulls that they're kind of happy with them.
Oh, I imagine.
And those are ones we just brought in November when we worked. I think it's about 30 in here.
All of them got the ML brand?
Yes, sir. That's the brand we use, ML.
What does the ML stand for?
Well, it stands for my grandmother's name, which was Lula Margaret, but it's hard to make an LM brand, but you can make an ML brand.
Yes, ma'am.
So they just did that. And you have to re-register them every 10 years.
Yes, ma'am. That's fact. In y'all's house up here at the ranch house, it is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. Well, thanks to Harvey, it's got a new roof.
It's got a brand new red roof.
Brand new roof.
Well, it sure does look good, and it kind of fits. What year did they build that?
1911.
1911. That's kind of interesting. A lot of the places back in those days, they had the big main houses and stuff like that. And that thing really sticks out in a beautiful way, and it's really something to see.
Thank you.
How long y'all's country been in the family?
Since 1892.
1892.
It's one of those heritage ranch things. You've been in 100 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Give you a plaque and whatever.
That's pretty impressive, because sometimes it gets hard to keep it all together, doesn't it?
It is. And of course, you keep working on that every year, trying to ensure that the heirs will have something to inherit. You pay taxes when your parents pass away, and then you pay taxes again and again and again.
And you pay taxes every year on the property.
And every year of property, but then you pay inheritance taxes on top of that, which sometimes.
Sometimes it seems like it's a little top heavy.
It is kind of top heavy.
Well, you've seen a lot of changes in the ranch and business in your lifetime. What's something that stands out?
Well, I think what stands out is what I consider whole herd health, which is, you get your cattle up and you vaccinate them 2 or 3 times a year to keep them healthy. And that to me is, because I know when I came home in 1980, they weren't per se doing that completely, and then we started doing that, and then you start testing for brucellosis and all that sort of stuff, and you cleaned up your animals or whatever. Let's see, I don't think that's just one of them yucky calls you don't worry about. And this is a windmill that Harvey tore up.
This is an interesting picture right here. It's kind of years ago and today.
Yes. This is an old earthen tank here that the windmill, went into, and then that went into the trough to the earthen tank. And now we got solar mills because it's too expensive to replace, and it's a lot easier to maintain a solar than it is to maintain the regular old one. And this is called the turtle pond because there's always a bunch of turtles running around there. And
So the ranch runs all the way down to the San Antonio River?
yes, sir. Yes, sir, it does. Over here on our right is called a horse pasture because years ago, when my dad and his brother ran the ranch, we had about 20 horses because we had two people that rode horseback every day in the pasture.
Yes, ma'am.
And they, if they found something sick, they'd rope it and tend to it. And, as those things fell by the wayside, then the horses went too. So,
Yeah.
and that's when you just do things, you have to adjust and do things differently. And the whole herd health has been, I think, the way to go. And vaccine is so much cheaper than having to burn them or bury them.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Ms. Wickheimer, if you had anything to say to somebody that was looking to get involved in agriculture or a young person, what would you say?
Well, it takes several years before you see any success in it.
Yes, ma'am.
And sometimes it's not very great big success. So it's hard for the people nowadays that are looking for instant things. Put it in
Yeah.
the microwave and then you got supper.
There you go.
Instead of cooking a pot of soup or something like that.
That's a pretty good analogy because everybody wants it like right now.
That's right. You don't want to get yourself overloaded with expenses. If you have to lease a pasture or buy a pasture, that gets real expensive. Leasing is not as bad, and you have to be sure that you give them the right amount of protein and mineral, not an excess, because it won't put any more pounds on it. It'll cost you too much money to do that. And you just have to put a fine pencil to everything.
Well, you can surely tell that you enjoy what you do.
Well, I was kind of born to it, and I've always stuck with it. And you just have to.
For some reason, I don't think you got a whole lot of stop to you.
Well,
I think you
can't afford to stop because you get moss on you, like on the trees. So I just kind of keep moving.
It's still. I think it's very, very, very honorable that you were in the Marine Corps 20 years. So basically, you joined in 1960.
Yes, sir.
And so you were in the Marine Corps some pretty hairy times.
Well, it was, but in those days, women only served on the home front. They didn't serve in any occupation or any war zones. Our job was mainly to, free a man to fight, and we were supposed to take care of the home front and
Yes, ma'am.
provide the supplies and whatever they needed. So that's what we did.
It's quite a story.
Well, this kind of makes the tour.
Well, that's absolutely what we were hoping that we would get, and I can't tell you how enjoyable it was to make a round for the first time. I've made that round. We've made that round, and you probably made it hundreds of thousands of times.
A few.
And the neat thing about it is you probably don't ever get tired of making it.
No, I don't. I always see something new every day when I do it. So it's one of those things that when you enjoy doing something, you don't mind doing it.
No, ma'am. That's very well said. It's been an absolute pleasure, Miss Wickheimer, to spend some time with you this afternoon looking at y'all's ranch.
Well, I've enjoyed it.
And on behalf of all of us out here from the Swickheimer Ranch, we hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And it goes without saying that we wish each and every one of y'all out there a very Merry Christmas and health to all of y'all's families and a very prosperous New Year.
Yes.
Mr. Wickheimer, you have anything else you want to say?
No, it just sounds good.
Well, then let's me and you sing a little song.
Okay.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll see you next time on Let's Grow Texas Ag.
Yes.
Maybe you know someone that should be highlighted on our program. Let us know. Submit your story ideas to crossroadstoday.com/ag.
You know, sometimes in a small town, the only thing you need to do is find a courthouse. Find a courthouse because everything revolves around the courthouse, especially in a small town. And if you look around, you can always, you want to find out where all the cops are eating, where all the police officers are eating. As you can see right over here, all these guys, you guys have a good lunch? Yes, sir. And I would assume that y'all eat in here quite a bit? Yes, sir. So y'all like Deborah's pretty good? Yes, sir. I've had the pleasure of eating here a time or two, and it is absolutely wonderful. Yes, sir. I'll guarantee you. So like I was telling you guys a while ago, if you want to start singing, you sang a little bit a while ago. Let me hear that a little bit. I hear the train a-coming, it's rolling around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since.
I don't know when.
There you go. Thank you guys very much. Y'all, we're going to eat over here. We're going to talk to Miss Deborah. How are you, Miss Jerry?
Good.
You doing all right?
Yes, sir.
Man, you guys got a wonderful place here.
Thank you.
It's absolutely. And we're sitting here right here in front of a wall that I think is very fitting. The Wall of Heroes. Got the United States flag and the Texas flag, and you got signatures from all the people that come in here and have dined with you guys.
Yep.
And that are all branches of the military.
Yep.
That is so special.
Military, law enforcement, EMS.
That's cool.
Firefighters.
Yeah,
Firefighters. Anybody that serves. Any of those folks that are in that circle that just come a running, no question asked.
Yes.
Tell us about your restaurant here.
Oh, let me see. We've been here 3 years in February. We started out in a food trailer for 2.5 years. And we just wanted it to be like you're going to grandma's house to eat. You're going home to eat.
Well, that's exactly what it feels like when you come in here. You got all these great pictures of y'all's family sitting there.
These are people that sent us pictures.
Isn't that
of their
cool? That's
families.
even cooler yet.
And we just had them, wanted something different.
Well, it is absolutely, and y'all serve a great lunch.
Different.
I had the meatloaf today, and it was excellent.
We cook from scratch, because that's the way I grew up. Our pies are from scratch, everything's from scratch.
Somehow I would expect no less.
That's just the way I grew up doing it.
That's
the way
the
I
way
keep
you was
doing
taught
it.
to do it?
Yep.
And it looks like it's servicing you well. Mr. Jerry, what do you think?
Well, the food's done well by me.
Anything else you guys like to say?
Oh,
Well, it's your turn.
I'm just here for support.
Now's your time to take that support role a little bit more serious. You need to say something right now. The spotlight's on you.
Well, I'm just going to say I've been eating your food for over 40 years. And
as a
it
kid,
is what you said. It's good home cooking like you. I eat at home just like what you ate in here today.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Miss Deborah. It's been absolutely wonderful. We had an absolutely wonderful lunch. Thank you all very much
Thank
for
you.
your hospitality. And I can tell you one thing, folks. You don't have to get off the beaten path very far, but you do have to get off 183, take a right and come down here a couple of blocks and come to Deborah's. It's right on the square, and you're going to absolutely love it. See you next time on Let's Grow Texas Ag.
You've been watching Let's Grow Texas Ag. Visit our website for more information and program schedules.